You're now. Got it. All right. So thank you everyone for taking the time today to join the presentation. I hope it helps answer some questions, and whether it's you who are looking for graduate degree programs or staff members, friends, etc. We're hoping that this provides kind of some places to get started and an overview of how it will work into the dietetic internship program. This presentation is specific for the WIC dietetic internship program here at Maricopa County Department of Public Health, which is supported by our wonderful members at Arizona Department of Health Services. So my name is Diana Kinsfather. I'm the dietetic internship supervisor, and I have my teammate Lisa Clark on the call as well. And Lisa will be coming on to talk about the various graduate degrees that we'll highlight today. So in today's presentation, we'll go over a review of some of the program specifics, how the internship is adjusting to the 2024 graduate degree requirements, and some considerations to really factor in when deciding on graduate degrees. We will cover 4 graduate degrees that most are local to the area, but one is an online distance program not in Arizona. And Lisa will cover why we have selected those graduate degree programs just as a highlight. And then some additional factors to consider as you embark on this journey. All right, so as a review, the Maricopa County Department of Public Health dietetic internship has chosen to remain a non-degree DI or dietetic internship. As we move towards the graduate degree requirements, what we will be moving in towards, these are the ASCEND, which is our accrediting body terminology, is this student identified graduate degree. So really what we're going to do is we're going to admit individuals into the program who are either A, in the process of completing a graduate degree, have enrolled in a graduate degree program, or have completed a graduate degree program. But really at the completion of the dietetic internship, a verification statement from the dietetic internship will be provided, signed, and submitted when both the graduate degree has been completed and the dietetic internship degree has been completed. And those things are needed to be submitted then to become eligible to sit for the registered dietitian nutritionist credentialing examination. Also, please at any time feel free to put in the chat questions. I know my colleagues will help me monitor that, and then we'll also have time for questions at the end. Okay, so we have previously recorded, presented, and shared a presentation that really goes in depth over the next few slides that I'll present just as a review. But please visit our website. We'll give you the URL at the end, but it is www.rdn2be.com. And then you can find a link really easily on the website to our blog. On the blog in this videos section is where this WIC track updates presentation can be found with detailed explanation to why we selected this route, and also detailed explanations on the application process. So a review of the eligibility requirements. To be eligible to apply to the WIC dietetic internship program, you must have a DPD verification statement or an intent to complete. This is a signed statement from your university's DPD, which is Didactic Program and Dietetics Director. You also need to have finished your bachelor's degree. You need to have worked for an Arizona WIC agency for 9 months of full-time employment. And you do need to have some sort of graduate degree plan or status, at least thought up, and be able to mention this in your personal statements. The personal statement is part of the application process. We have made a lot of changes to the application process, especially for the WIC track, in preparation of these changes with the graduate degree. So again, please go back on if you haven't viewed that previous presentation or been in touch with us. It really does explain step-by-step process of this application. We will no longer be using DICAS, and there is no longer a program application fee. And since we're not using DICAS, there's also no longer an application fee for DICAS. So our changes have been made for a bunch of reasons, one of them being to lessen the financial burden. And we hope by minimizing and eliminating those two things, that helps a little bit. We also have a rolling application process or rolling application dates. And what that means is you no longer have to wait until January 15th to submit your application papers. They can be submitted, emailed to myself as soon as you have met those eligibility requirements. You do not need to have started or completed a graduate degree to apply. You do have to have started or completed a graduate degree to start the dietetic internship, but to apply, you do not need to. And this was done because we heard from a lot of individuals who filled out our survey back in 2021 that they are interested in receiving a graduate degree and would be willing to go that route if they knew they had a spot in an internship. So we are making these changes to hopefully give those individuals some peace of mind that the time and money they're spending on a graduate degree really will go to helping them achieve their end goal of becoming a dietitian. And there's that URL, rdn2b.com, to check out the website and the blog. The timeline is also covered in that presentation, but please work with your agency to let them know of interest in this program. Different agencies have different guidelines set up on what this timeline can look like. We need to ensure that by January of the year that the applicant hopes to start the internship, that they have completed 50% of the graduate degree. That should be right in timeline then by August, which is, 7 to 8 months after that January check-in, another quarter of their graduate degree is completed. So our goal is that by the start of the dietetic internship, individuals have at least a minimum of 75% of the graduate degree completed. Per accreditation purposes on our end, we have to ensure that graduates are set up to finish the graduate degree within at least 4 months of graduation from the dietetic internship. So some considerations that we feel are really important to take into account when researching graduate degrees are listed on this slide. There are also a lot of the things that were mentioned in the response to the survey of reasons that were important for your consideration in having autonomy to select the graduate degree that worked best for the individual. There are in-person and a lot of online options. So depending on your learning style, that is a major consideration. Cost. When we have been reviewing these graduate programs, we're finding variances of upwards of $20,000 between programs. So if cost is a factor, and it should always be considered to some extent, what is this return on investment, right? So really looking at the cost, and maybe that is one of your deciding areas, but there's some great programs, some of which cost $30,000, and there's some other great programs, some of which cost $10,000. The credit hours really can vary depending on the cost and also the field of study. So we are finding that public health degrees, advanced graduate degrees, do tend to be a little bit heavier in the credit hours. And then since cost is almost always associated per credit hour, the cost is also higher. And then some of the application requirements. What is needed by these programs for you to even apply to them. What is the application fee? Do they require a GRE? What is the timeline? So those are things that we will cover on the graduate degrees that we will go over today, but also we highly recommend factoring in all of these in your decision-making process when selecting a graduate degree. Another thing that I think I wish someone would have told me when I was considering a graduate degree was considering if they're really what the requirements were for that end project. Is it a thesis? I think one of the main takeaways from my thesis is that I realized it is really, really hard to recruit study participants to be a part of your research. So a thesis is obviously a heavy research-based project. An applied project and a practicum can be similar and different depending on the program that you're in. But our goal is to, in the applied project or practicum, hopefully allow some of those hours to count towards hours that you're also doing in the internship. So really factoring in those capstone requirements and making sure you're aware of the graduate degree, what is required of those capstone requirements is another important consideration. And I'm going to hand it over to Lisa to cover graduate degrees.
Thanks, Diana. So now we are going to walk through a brief overview of some graduate degree options. Please just know that there is no formal agreement between our DI program and these graduate degree programs. Again, like Diana mentioned, based on that survey that was sent out in 2021, we did gather that it was important for interested candidates to choose where they received those graduate degrees from. So this is why we have not partnered with one specific university. We obviously do not have every single potential graduate degree option here in this presentation. The ones that we have featured are programs that we have heard feedback on from past interns and colleagues. You also do not need to receive a graduate degree from one of these programs in this presentation. Our goal was simply just to present a few options based on some of the positive feedback we had received. Lastly, the information that's presented on these slides is subject to change and is current at the time that we made this presentation. All right, the first program that we're going to cover is through Arizona State University. This program I actually went through myself, so I can speak to this from a firsthand perspective. The cost of this program was about $22,000. The modality of it was entirely online, and it was originally made for current dietitians to get a master's degree and has since been expanded to include anyone who is a nutrition professional who would like to get a graduate degree. It is intentionally made for those who are working as a part-time program. It is understood that you are also doing a full-time job on top of this program, so there is some flexibility there. It includes 30 credit hours, and that includes the capstone project, which is an applied project. So there is no thesis as part of this program. The nice thing about the capstone being an applied project is it can be used, or it can be incorporated into some of the work that you're already doing. So if there was a project that you're working on within WIC, or in my case, it was a project that was being worked on through the dietetic internship, it's something that can have some overlap and be used as your capstone project. As far as applications go, there is no GRE required, and the result of this program is a Master of Science in Nutritional Sciences and Dietetics. And really quickly, the link was on there if you wanted to explore a little bit more about that program. I would highly recommend, just because I was working full-time while completing it, and I found it very feasible, and was even able to complete multiple classes at once and get it done in less than 2 years. The next program we have is also offered by Arizona State University. This is the Transcend program. So the modality of this is a little bit different. It's a combination of online coursework and in-person coursework. The cost is a little bit subject to change, but is generally around $18,000 per year. And there is typically a stipend and tuition support offered for this program. It does include a capstone that is a thesis. So this is a little bit more of a research-focused master's degree, but does not require a GRE to apply. And the end result of this program is a Master of Science, and there is more of a focus on maternal and child health. The main takeaway really from this program is that Transcend is your best bet for a paid graduate degree, but just know, based on the feedback that we received on this program, you will work very, very hard, and there is a large focus on the research side of things. Next up, we have Grand Canyon University. So right now, Grand Canyon offers a Master of Public Health. One of our past interns who just finished up this last cohort completed this while completing her dietetic internship at the same time. As Diana said, because it is a Master of Public Health, you can see here that the credit hours are a little bit higher. There's 48 hours compared to the 30 hours from the previous programs. And the cost is a little bit higher as well, about $27,000 total. This program is offered completely online, and the capstone is non-thesis. It's considered practicum. So in the example of our past intern who did complete this program, she was actually able to use her hours that she completed as part of the dietetic internship as the practicum and kind of double dip, so to speak, and kind of kill two birds with one stone. No GRE is required for this one, and it results in a Master of Public Health. Last up, we wanted to showcase an option that is technically out of state, but it's completed all online, so it's not like you're having to go out of state. But Lamar University offers a Master of Science in Nutrition for a very, very nice price. It's $10,000, which is one of the most most cost-effective options when it comes to master's degrees out there from people that we have heard through the pipeline from. It's about $10,000. It is entirely online. It's a 30 credit hour program and does not include a thesis. So this again is one of those applied project type capstones where you can use work that you were potentially already doing now or work that you would be completing as part of the dietetic internship to cover that capstone requirement. There is no GRE required. And I think one of the key things that we heard about this program was that it is possible to finish it in 15 months with multiple courses being taken at one time. This university also does offer a master's in public health, but similar to what we saw with the Grand Canyon University option, the credit hours were greatly increased and the price was much more. We just also don't have a testimonial from that. So just keep that in mind, that the ones that we're covering in this presentation are programs that we have heard from past interns and colleagues that they have gone through. All right, so we've covered a ton of information so far in this presentation, but I just want to throw a couple more factors in for you to keep in mind as you are evaluating graduate degree options. The time to complete is really a huge factor. Some programs will allow you to take courses at the same time, concurrently, but others require you to take courses sequentially. And this can greatly increase or decrease the amount of time it takes to complete a program. This is something that is very individualized based on each program, and I would highly recommend, if you are reaching out to get more information about certain graduate degree programs, that you speak with the advisor who's responsible for the program to get the details on this. That's not something that you're probably going to be able to find on the website, and definitely not something that Diana and I can speak to. Additionally, agency support and flexibility with timing and tuition reimbursement should be considered. One of our colleagues who currently works for WIC only paid about $2,000, $3,000 out of pocket for her graduate degree because of the tuition reimbursement assistance. That said, tuition reimbursement will vary from agency to agency, so work with your leadership and HR team to determine what your benefits are. Hopefully this presentation provided a little bit of direction for those of you who are interested in pursuing the RDN credential and our WIC dietetic internship track. Please direct any questions that you may have or that someone who you know who might be interested in pursuing this track may have to Diana. And please check out our website for more details about this program and its requirements. With that, I think I will just open it up for any questions. I don't think we had anything in the chat, Diana, as we went through this.
Any questions?
Diana, could you just touch on some of the rotations that you guys offer? I know that was a question we had from somebody who filled out the registration.
Yeah, I'm going to throw us for a loop. I know you had mentioned that before the presentation. So I pulled another slide from a different presentation we gave. So we're going off of our template here and moving to a different template. Our rotations, of course, include a clinical rotation. They include a food and nutrition management rotation. We turn to school districts for our food and nutrition management rotation. But some of the rotations that are really specific to Maricopa County Dietetic Internship that we're really proud of as well are listed on this slide. Our interns currently right now are in their 2-week food systems rotation with our food systems team at the Department of Public Health. This picture that is highlighted on the left side of the screen is at a school in Tucson, which I was actually able to tour last week with the cohort. They have an amazing farm program at the school, and we got to see all the things growing in this greenhouse and how they incorporate the farm into every aspect of the school. So it really looks at food sustainability, at food sovereignty, at so many factors that really go into how, when, where we get the food that we eat, and especially a lot of the food that we counsel clients on incorporating in their routines. So a wonderful 2-week rotation there. We also have a focus on policy and advocacy. Everything we do, especially revolving around the food we eat and the water we drink, revolves around policy. It's really important for dietitians to have a seat at that table, whether it's because of MNT reimbursement or, again, supporting local farmers. Policy is important. We have this incorporated in a variety of ways. One of the ways is to have all of the interns. They'll be participating in RDN Day at the Capitol. That happens in March of every year. So they'll be working with the state policy team to really get that event planned, as well as participating and speaking to legislatures at that event. We also have a relationship and a rotation with Pinnacle Prevention, which is a nonprofit group who really does support a lot of the programs in our state. And we factor in who gets to participate in that rotation by giving the interns a survey before we're making the schedule and asking what their preference is on some of these specialty rotations. So if they're super interested in policy, they would rank that high. If they're super interested in oncology, they would rank that high. If they're really interested in eating disorders, they would rank that maybe as the highest. So we want to make sure that we get the interns into some of these unique specialty rotations that match their preference level. And then Lisa and I's favorite is Management Week. This is at the end of the program where we get to work with the interns on quality improvement measures of the program. So they do a lot of evaluation, reflection, and helping us modify things for the next cohort of interns coming in. And again, these rotations are in addition to clinical food and nutrition management, some outpatient diabetes that also everyone gets to take part in those rotations. Any other questions on rotations or anything else? Lisa, did I miss anything?
No, that was wonderful. I have nothing to add.
Okay.
I do have a quick question about the master's degree program options.
Sure.
So
I'm sorry, I can't tell who's talking.
It's Anaí Montano.
Hi, Anaí, go ahead.
Hi. So I know that you went over a couple of the options that we can go and do the master's degree program through. Is it limited to just those specific or a nutrition related master's degree, or can we get like a master's in business administration or any other degree?
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. It is 100% not limited to those at all. Again, the only reason we highlighted those 4 programs is because they are the programs that we have testimonials from either past interns or our colleagues, or in Lisa's case herself for the ASU program. So we highlighted those programs because we felt like we could somewhat vouch for how the interns or graduates or colleagues felt about the programs, and they all were spoken of very highly. So the graduate degree can be from any accredited college or university, does not have to have anything to do with one of the ones we highlighted today. It can also be in any field of study, as long as you have that DPD, that didactic program and dietetics verification statement. The graduate degree can be in nutrition, it can be in public health, it can be in business, it can be in education, psychology. Like, there's so many amazing fields of studies and degrees that really could complement nutrition, that I do think it's one of the good things that they factored in when making this graduate degree requirement, is not having to have it be in nutrition.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Sorry, second question.
All
So
right, I think we will close.
Oh,
Sorry, there was one more question.
I think she got disconnected, Diana.
I can
yeah,
go.
sorry, I had another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so the application process is no longer going to be through DICUS, is what I understood from this presentation. It's through that new website, RDN2B.
Yeah, so you can use the RDN2B website just as a reference for all the information that you need for that application. But it's really as simple as, once you have all the components together, once you meet those eligibility requirements, you just send all of that to Diana directly through email. And we're getting rid of some of the extra mess as part of the application process and really streamlining it.
Thank you.
Anything to add on that, Diana? I think you're back.
I froze. Sorry, I'm sure you covered it beautifully.
And as anybody has questions, if you or someone that you know is interested in doing this, as we have questions, please talk to us. I think the best way that this works is if there's just open communication all the way around. I like to think that Diana and myself are fairly approachable. So as you have questions, we're here to help. If you're not even sure where to start, let us know. We want to know that there are folks that are interested in continuing this program with us. And as you have questions, just please shoot us an email.
And if anyone has any questions about the WIC side of it, so what it would look like when you're going through the internship, the contract process, or anything, feel free to reach out to Kim Callow or myself. All right. Well, we'll give everybody the rest of their lunchtime. Thank you guys so much for attending today. And we will send this recording out in the WIC weekly update. And then Diana, can you just send me your slides so we can send those out as well?
Sure. Yep.
All
Thank
right.
you all so much.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.